Hello to all of my peeps. It's so good to see you here today from my chair, episode 200. Woo! Yes, we finally made it after almost 5 years of recording these. I'm so excited. Thanks for hanging with me. Oh my goodness, you are such faithful peeps. I'm so excited. And as promised, the Lord has worked some very miraculous things in the last week and a half or so to make it to where I can have the most beautiful mother, my mom, in the whole wide universe, and the most amazing sister in the whole galaxy. I've got the best, not you. I've got the best. And I'm so excited that they agreed to do this. This is way out of your comfort zone,
Yes.
way out of your box.
Yes.
But you know what, though? Without these two, I would have stopped doing these a long time ago. They help me. They encourage me to keep going on this and to keep doing it. I know they watch them and they share them with other people, and we talk about them, we discuss things, and I appreciate that. You know, without a family backing you, it's very difficult to do what needs to be done. So that's why I wanted them on the 200th with me, because I need them. I need their support, and I appreciate it. We are recording in one of my happy places. I think it's one of y'all's happy places too. We're recording in my mom's living room in Tennessee. I use y'all as illustrations all the time, and I'm like, you know what, just come on, let's just do this all together. But this is a happy place for us. And Christmas, it's, you know, my mom starts decorating like, you know, the day after Thanksgiving. No, before that, like at the beginning of November, yes. And she gets the grandsons involved and getting stuff and doing things. All of this, yes, she can't do it all by herself, but she gets help, and this is her favorite time. And they're all decked out in Christmas, and I'm not, but that's okay. They're amazing, and I'm so excited to be here. We've been shopping today, getting some last minute gifts. It was fun. It was really fun because we were leaving as the crowd was coming. Yes, kudos to us. We did the right thing. I'm so excited about that. So let's get started on this very epic 200th episode. Let me say a huge thank you for sending in stuff. I've asked you for several weeks to send in questions and comments and favorite episodes, and you did. And I've written all that down and who you are, and I'll be sending you your straw and your straw topper. I'm so excited about that. But all throughout this episode, we're going to be using things that you submitted for these episodes. I'm so excited about it. We're going to mix it up a little bit. We're going to do have some fun. We're going to make it fun, have some questions, give us some comments. We're going to do a very special Ask Mom segment. And my sister and I have come up with some things, and we want to know some things, and she's going to have to pick. She's going to have to pick between me or my sister Serene. And I'm excited about that. They have in their hand cards. They've got all the questions, and when it's time for them to ask a question, they get to choose what question they want to ask, which I'm a little bit nervous about that because I've got notes on a couple of them, but the rest of them I'm like, okay, whatever, just stop. You just got to do you got to roll with it. So I'm just going to roll with it. I'd like to start this 200th episode by at the beginning. Start at the beginning. I would like to explain just a little bit of how all of this began. Back in 2020, a horrible thing happened. It was called COVID. And everything was locked down, everything was shut down, and we just had a burden. Pastor, actually, my husband had a burden that to make sure, because nobody was going to church. Nobody had Sunday school, nobody was going to church, and that just broke our hearts. And he's like, you know what, we've got to do something. And he made the comments like, we've got to do what we can do. Hold on to that, because that's very important to the very first episode and where this all started. And he's like, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go to the church. We're going to go downstairs in the Bryce Mackle Teen Center. And babe, why don't you get together a Sunday school lesson? And why don't you teach your ladies a Sunday school lesson? And they can log on to YouTube, and we'll create a channel and a means for our people to be able to get their Sunday school lesson in. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's do this. So April 8th of 2020, I got some stuffed animals. I don't know if y'all remember that. And but going back and looking at it, it looks so goofy. It really does. I gotta admit it, because I looked back at episode 1 and 2 and 3, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that was so goofy. But it was like I was talking to no one. Like right now, I've got one of my handsome nephews recording for us, and I can look at him. But when I was doing all of this at the beginning, I was just staring into the lens of a camera, and I'm thinking, I gotta have some company here, you know? So I got my favorite stuffed animals. I don't know if you remember that, and I would show you my stuffed animals, and I did that for several episodes. But, and I would throw peppermints and give virtual hugs and all that, because we couldn't be together at all during those wretched months of COVID. And the lesson started out, the Holy Spirit, as I was reading in Acts chapter 27, verses 1 and 2, about Paul, and it was, he did what he could with what he had from where he was. And I'm like, that's exactly what we're doing. And during COVID, you do what you can with what you have from where you are. And that's what catapulted this whole thing from almost 5 years ago. Just a Sunday school lesson. So I asked Pastor, I'm like, when do you want me to stop? We got back in church. We started Sunday school lessons. I'm like, okay, all this is done. We're meeting again. When do you want me to stop? He's like, no, don't stop. I'm like, okay. He's like, are you still having views? I'm like, well, yes, I'm still. He's like, keep going. I'm like, okay, I'll keep going. And that's where we are today. And he doesn't want me to stop just yet. And so here we go with episode 200, nearly 5 years later. So that's how it all got started. I'm going to throw it to my sister first. By the way, my mom has a kitty. I call it Kitty Kitty. It's a baby, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, I call it Kitty Kitty. This Kitty Kitty could jump up on this table or in my mom's lap at any given moment, which will be hilarious. I'm not going to edit it. I'm not going to cut it. It just is what it is, okay? And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So I'm going to throw it to my sister. I think you've got a couple questions, and we'll throw it to you first.
Okay, the first question is, where did the name From My Chair come from?
Okay, From My Chair came from an accident that I had. We were playing basketball in March, right before everything shut down. Like the week that everything shut down, we were playing basketball, and one of the little boys in our church, he was right near me, and I fell and he fell, and rather than him hitting his head on our asphalt on the gym, I fell down, but I held his head, and I fell straight on my hip. On my hip and on my shoulder, my left hip, my left shoulder. Straight on it with him in tow. Just him plus me on the concrete. From that, I was in so much pain, it was ridiculous. And the doctors, it's like you can't go to the doctor's offices and all these places because everything was shut. So basically, I was in my chair all the time. And in the cushions, and just because I hurt all the time. And so we were sitting around trying to figure out what to name it. My husband named it. He's like, hey, you know what? You have to sit a lot. You have to sit in your chair a lot. He's like, just call it From My Chair. And I'm like, oh my goodness, because I'm teaching from my chair because I have had to sit for so long I couldn't get up because of falling. And on the concrete, on the asphalt, and that's where it comes from. Is he did it, but it's because I hurt my hip, and I couldn't stand, I couldn't walk very well at all, and he's like, from my chair. So that's pretty much where it started. That's a good question. I like that.
All right, and along with that, does that blue chair actually exist?
That's a good question. Somebody asked that. No, it doesn't. It doesn't exist. I don't even know if I would want it to exist. It's blue, and that wouldn't match my living room at all. It's a beautiful chair, and if you're not familiar, the YouTube, when you click on it, most of the time it has the picture of the blue chair. My husband came up with that too. As he was searching clip art and pictures and images, he found that. He's like, that's it. That's perfect. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. It's recognizable. So no, it doesn't exist. Now, if it was like cranberry or something, that color, or brownish, to match my living room, I'd want that in my living room. But no, it doesn't exist. But thank you. Those are really good questions. I'd like to do an episode, a little segment called Ask Mom. Are you good with that?
We'll see.
Okay, we'll see. Okay. Now the problem is, Mom, she loves all her children the same. She's got 3, so it's me and my sister, and then I have a handsome brother, Daniel, and he's working right now. But she doesn't. I don't have favorites. I don't show, and she doesn't. Legit, she doesn't. So she's gonna have a really hard time picking between us with this. And but I'm so excited about it. So okay. I know that some of these will have, caveats and all that stuff, and it's okay to give it, all right? So I'm going to go first, if that's okay. I'm going to give my Ask Mom first. Okay, so, Mom, which one of us, me or Serene, is most likely to forget your birthday? You.
Oh, yeah.
Me, oh my goodness. I knew what she was going to say for that one. I am horrible. If you were to even ask me the date of it, I know the month. But if you were to ask me the date, I would have a really hard time. I might mix it up with my nephews. Yeah. I even have a mnemonic thing in my head, to get all my nephews right. I'll mess it up every time. So you're absolutely right about that one. All right, so here's a good one. Okay, Mom, who is the most spontaneous? Me or Serene? Spontaneous. It's a good one.
Spontaneous. Serene, maybe?
Her voice is a little cracky too, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So you're the most spontaneous. I would totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that? Yes. I would have to have things like planned out and stuff, and you're like, hey, let's go to the Dollar General. Hey, let's go to the Kroger. And I'm thinking, okay, come on, let's get ready. Let's go. Let's get dressed. Let's get going.
I think she knows now, though, that I need 30 minutes to an hour and a half.
Yeah, so she'll text you. She'll be like, going to Walmart in an hour, and you'll be ready for that. But yeah, I agree with that. That was a good one. Most spontaneous. All right, here we go. You ready? I think I know the answer to this one too. Who was the messy, growing up, not now, growing up, who was the messiest? The messiest. Who was the messiest growing up?
It's hard.
That really is hard because I will say you both became really good cleaners. We cleaned the house every day, and they learned how to clean very well. And one major memory I have, and I still use this sometimes, I would have gone somewhere, come home, the house would be pretty much spotless, and I'd say, oh, the fairies came.
Yep, the
And
fairies.
that was always my favorite day, the day the fairies came.
Yep.
But they were, they may have made little kid messes because that's what kids do, but they learned very young to clean and clean well.
Yeah. Well, that's when I talk about these episodes of one of the last few episodes about your spouse coming home and it being inviting to him. That's one of the things that you could do. Something simple is just tidy it up. That's where we got that. That's legit where we got that. Many times, and you mouthed it a few seconds ago, and I'm thinking that's it. Many times I'll walk in my house and I'll think, man, I wish the fairies would come. I wish the fairies would have come because I left with the dishes in the sink and on the counter and laundry. And it's like, I wish
They don't
fairies.
come see me much anymore.
I know, it's like, the fairies. But I do say that. And I'm like, that's where we got it. That's where we got it. I wish the fairies would come. And, then one of my fellas, my handsome fella, he'll be like, Mom, fairies don't exist.
Oh, but they do.
I know, I'm like, according to Mom, they exist. They really do exist. And that's a good one. All right, so then, who got in trouble more? Growing up, who got in trouble more?
Serene.
Okay, yeah, she did I got some really bad in trouble sometimes, spankings and all that. But yeah, she did.
Yeah.
She got in trouble more.
She was, and this may be one of your
Watch
questions.
it.
She was just a tad bit stubborn,
Yeah.
and she didn't like to own up to some
I
of
took the
things.
rap for you a lot. I mean, I
I
did.
blamed you.
Yes, you did blame me a lot.
That
We
happens.
Did. We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was a tomboy of the family, and my dad,
Yes.
he drove a truck, so he wasn't there a lot. So I felt like he like put me in charge and stuff. So I'm like, I have to do this for you. I have to protect you,
That's kind of a first child thing too,
Yeah,
though.
it is.
So,
it is.
yeah.
You're right. And then I've got one more. Who takes longer to get ready?
Oh, I think you.
Oh, I think so too.
Because
I think
she can just throw it together.
Yeah, and it
Oh,
takes.
the real answer is me.
Well, but
but-
it's between us.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah.
You're right. I do. It takes me a minute.
Your hair takes you a
It
long time.
takes me a while.
Mhm.
It does. It takes a while to paint this and get this all ready for the world. I'm just saying, it just takes a minute. Okay, Mom, it is your turn.
Okay.
You did really good. You did really good. And by the way, everybody's coming in from work, so you'll just have to be patient. All right, here we go. Mom, it's your turn to ask a question. I'm a little bit nervous about this because I have no clue
Okay.
what she's going to ask. Okay, here we go.
I like this one.
Okay.
What are some of the funniest out-of-the-box things that happened while you were recording?
Okay, so funniest out of the box. To me, the funniest types of things would be like, they weren't funny to me, they were more annoying. A lot of annoying things happen. But the thing is, you don't see that because it's happening behind the camera, and I have to keep it all straight and all together. I mean, there were some times when my handsome cameraman, he would be making faces and doing all that, and I would have to keep it all together. But a lot of times, barking dogs, oh my goodness, that would just, oh my. And, okay, so then I have a really sweet peep in Indiana. I'm going to call her Jules. That's what I call her, Jules. She told me very early on, she's like, Miss Tab, she calls me Miss Tab. She's like, Miss Tab, she's like, stop trying to be perfect. Stop trying to be perfect. Every episode is, because I was recording and then I'd stop and have to do it again because it wasn't perfect. And then I'd record and then stop and have to do it again. It was taking me forever and getting me frustrated. The dogs would bark, blah, blah, blah. Cars would go by when I was recording outside. And she's like, stop. She's like, just let it go. Just have fun and let it go and just you be you. It changed my life. It changed all of this because it doesn't have to be perfect. So that very next episode, dogs barking, cars going by, and I kept thinking, keep recording. It's real, make it real, keep it real. And so yes, that's one of the things. I remember one time that we were recording and we forgot to press stop.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and we had to do it all over again. Yes,
Oh,
that was very interesting. But yeah, that's probably what I would say is the dogs barking and things, or my handsome cameraman doing Fortnite dances in the back, trying to maybe perk up or whatever, enjoy whatever. It was funny and trying to keep it all together. So yeah, that was good. That was a good question. I would like to read a couple of comments from some of my peeps have shared with me. I love it. There was a text that people would send me. They would send me different text, and I've got to find it here. Here it is. That of their favorite episodes and things. One of my peeps said that it was very specific. I enjoyed that. But it was she said episode 24, where grace comforts us during our suffering. And so it was very specific. That was a long time ago too. So thank you for submitting that episode 24. And then I've had several peeps enjoy the personality boxes. I did a long, I don't know, 40 episodes maybe or so from the personality boxes. And my sister, she is the one that handed me the material, the reading material. I remember the day, I remember the time, and I threw the book on the floor because I looked at it and like, I do not like who I am. Boom. The personality, go back to those boxes, personality boxes, and watch those if you haven't. It'll shed a lot of light on who you are and how you can love other people the way they are with those things. A lot of people enjoyed those.
They're life-changing.
They really were, and they changed me. Honestly, they changed me in some really big ways. And but a lot of my peeps. So if you texted me that or sent it to me that you enjoyed those personality boxes. Thank you. And then I love this one. Just recently on episode 194, I did an episode about Bathsheba fighting for her son, fighting for David. And I was so excited about that. No, Solomon. Sorry, because we're in Song of Solomon. But I'd like to read the quote. She said, "It put an extra fire underneath me. It was very touching. It showed me I'll never give up on my son." And so that was so encouraging to me, that Bathsheba fighting for Solomon, and just that whole looking at it and say, that put a fire in me to just keep fighting for my boy. And so I appreciated that so much with that comment and that question, and that they sent me. All right, sister, it is time for you to choose a question. Well, we've got time for just a titch more, so y'all are going to be patient. We're going to keep going and have us a good time. All right, hit it.
Okay, do you have a favorite lesson?
No, I don't. Well, you know what? I do. I have a favorite lesson. Again, I'm just doing these off the top of my head. I think my favorite lessons is not really a lesson, but it's from Papua New Guinea. I absolutely, in fact, those are the ones that I go back and watch a lot because I want to remember that missions trip. I talk about missions a lot and what they need. I talk about what we're doing in those episodes. So probably the Papua New Guinea episodes, I love those. I also love the lake episodes when we're on vacation.
Yeah.
I know, who does a lesson on vacation, right? But we did, we still do. And there was a point where I'm like, I don't need to do this on vacation anymore because it's a lot of study time, it's a lot of prep time. But videoing on the lake, I love that. I really do love it. But if you were to say, which one's your favorite? I would have to say my missions trip from Papua New Guinea, all of those. Those are the ones that I watch the most, that I want to relive that experience of the missions trip. So yeah, that was really good. I was excited about that. Thank you. Those are good questions. Okay, now we have one more Ask Mom. We have an Ask Mom segment, and then we'll conclude it. All right, but it's your turn to ask Mom.
Okay, you kind of already answered this, but who is more stubborn? Me or Tab?
I think both of you have a little of that. You probably had more growing up as a young child. She may have more now.
I would totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, as a growing up, her, now me. Yes, I'm rather stubborn.
Yeah.
I've tried.
Okay.
It doesn't work.
Who is a better driver?
Mom's real picky about driving and speed limits and stuff. My nephew's laughing. It's so funny back there. Okay, I want to know this one.
I hate driving.
She does.
So anytime anybody drives me, I'm very grateful, thankful. But yes, sometimes I sit there
And bite her fingernails, yes.
and hold
With
my
who?
tongue.
With her, with me.
Anybody. No, not anybody. My Webb is a very good
Oh
driver.
yeah, he is.
My sister's a very good driver. Not that y'all are bad drivers, but you have been known to go at least 5 miles over the speed limit. And a
We
few
get
things,
5, right?
You get 5. It's a gimme.
Yeah.
a few things like that, and I just say thank you, Jesus. I have a ride.
That's true. All right, so you're not gonna pick, are you?
No,
She's
and
not-
I mean I have 4 grandsons. They all drive, and I ride with all of them.
Yeah, she does.
And they are the younger generation,
Mm-hmm.
and we know how that generation drives.
You and God have to be real close when you
Yes.
get in the car
Yes.
with one of the grandsons. Isn't
Yeah.
that funny? Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
good one. That's a good one. All right. So a non-answer. We're both horrible, in other words.
Okay,
Not
who's
horrible.
funnier? Who is funnier?
Oh. We're not generally funny people, I don't think. I don't think we're funny people. If she watches cartoons, you might want to leave the room.
Oh, okay. You start to sound like Papa now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But any of us, all 3 of us, can laugh
Yes.
till our stomach hurts.
Yes.
Over the silliest things.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite times.
Yep.
And it does do us good like a medicine.
It does.
So I'm thankful for those times. But as far as just being out and out funny, I know I'm not.
Yeah. I mean, me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we can say funny things,
Yeah.
you know, do
But I think
silly
when we're
things.
together, it's like all 3 of us just compliment it and have such a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
good. You got
next
another one?
Who is a better cook?
Oh, see? Oh, she said me.
You
She
are.
said me.
you cook all the time.
Yes.
You try new things all the time.
Yes.
They may or may not be successful, and you acknowledge that.
Right. And most of the times they're
You
not.
cook more than you have time for.
True.
She lives next door to me. I cook anytime I can, and I do that because the Lord gives me the ability. But she is a very good cook too.
Yeah, she is.
I mean, there's
You're a better cook.
Yeah, but I get my recipes from you though. You gotta admit. Oh my,
Sure,
yeah, the
good.
lasagna and the fettuccine. That's all you.
hey, I'll eat either one of you.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
anytime.
As long as you don't have to cook
Yeah,
it, right?
yeah, yeah.
Do you have any more?
Yep.
Okay.
Who is most likely to text you? Text.
Text.
You.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a FaceTime.
Well, the next question is who's most likely to call you?
You are.
Me, I'm the most likely
Yeah.
to call. You're the most likely to text.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would agree with
Yeah,
that.
I would totally agree with that. That was fun. That was so much fun. Let's conclude this lesson. Let's conclude this episode. Thank you so much for joining us. One of my peeps asked me to give an update on Lydia. Mention her every episode for the past 4 years, I think. And but so it's okay. In the next episode, Lord willing, we'll record another one. I'd like to ask that question to you within the next episode. I'd like for you to give us a little bit of an update on Lydia, not you know all detailed and everything, but that was a question that one of them asked about Lydia. So if you would be willing to answer that. But join us next week, next episode. We're going to continue our 200th celebration, Lord willing. And don't forget, Lydia at 11 in her journey to remain cancer-free. Now go be amazing today.